To start proceedings, I now call upon Adil Duda, our relationship manager, to render the opening prayer. Over to you, Adil.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين.
Jazakallah Adil. I now take the pleasure in introducing Mohammed Kaka, Chief Operating Officer at Al Baraka Bank. Mohammed is a chartered accountant and served his articles at KPMG. He joined Al Baraka Bank 16 years ago in Gauteng. 2 years later, he relocated to Durban. Mohammed held roles as the Assistant Internal Audit Manager, General Manager Finance, General Manager International Banking, and is presently serving as the bank's Chief Operating Officer. Although he claims to be responsible for sales, he spends more time convincing IT people to build customer-friendly digital journeys. Indeed, he is the digital dynamo behind Al Baraka Bank's futuristic journey. Welcome, Mohammed Kaka.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and jazakallah to everyone that's shared their time, taken out their time to join us at our function today. It's as an ex-Joburger, and it's always nice to come home, and it's always nice to see many familiar faces. Some I studied with, some are family, and some we've worked with and collaborated with many clients, mutual clients. Al Baraka is a local first organization. We, over 30 years in South Africa, we've pioneered Islamic banking in South Africa. And we're very proud about the fact that Islamic banking has grown to where it is today. Combined the Islamic banks with Islamic windows and your unit trusts, etc., hold over 200 billion rand worth of Islamic assets. And that's a sizable number in the economy that we serve. So we're proud about the fact that over the years, we've been able to contribute or to kickstart that sort of economy and to be able to remain relevant as an organization. Remaining relevant is something that's very difficult and something that requires a lot of effort. And as Al Baraka, we've had to look at ourselves on a number of occasions and reinvent ourselves, look at our purpose, look at our products, look at our customers, look at our target markets, and ensure that we remain relevant to serve our customers. At our foundation is partnership. Our business is all about partnership, partnering with our clients, partnering with service providers like yourself. And that's why this event is so important for us. We see you as an extension of our mutual clients. And if you understand the products and services that we have and the ability that we have to offer, it makes it a win-win situation, not only for us, but for our mutual clients as well. So at the very heart of our organization is partnership. But partnership in itself is not all that banking is about. Banking is also about trust. Over the years, we've seen a number of bank failures that have happened, and most recently, what has occurred from the period of March with regards to Habib Overseas Bank has made and enforced the reason behind trust in banking. Governance is paramount. As an organization, we take governance very seriously. We've got a board of directors. We have independent, a majority independent directorship. We ensure that our financials are audited by a Big Four accounting firm. Those are released on our website within normal time periods. And we provide all the necessary board of governance and governance structures to ensure that the wealth of the Muslim community that is placed with us is then treated with the level of trust that it requires. But being partnership and having trust in the modern world is not enough. You've got to be agile. So what you're going to see today is a reflection of the agility in the organization. What we've done over the number of years, what we've done during the period of COVID, where we've had to relook at how do we do business? How do we work and make sure that our business takes leaps and bounds steps in terms of digital and digital solutions? Not only digital, also solutions that will help clients deal with the economies that we're dealing with now post-COVID. We've looked at ourselves, and we've also required ourselves to be innovative. So at our very heart now is a value of innovation, to be able to change the way that we do things in order to, again, remain relevant. And whatever we do needs to feed into the communities that we serve. So development of the communities is important for us. Whether it's something as recent as the Arbor Day initiatives, or whether it's our charitable and social welfare arms through ICRA and the South African Muslim and Charitable Trust, we ensure that by banking with us, you're not only contributing and maintaining your spiritual beliefs, but you're contributing to the growth of the economy, the real economy, where it's tangible assets that are being financed. We are not only a local bank, we are also a global bank. And before I continue, I'd like to share a short video from our head office, just taking through the Al Baraka group itself. So please join me in watching the next video.
Another new day at Al Baraka. This is where we embark on new challenges, explore new horizons, and work together for a future built on new hopes and aspirations. As a torchbearer of the Islamic banking industry for more than 40 years, we at Al Baraka Group have recognized that strong and lasting partnerships are essential to make this possible. It is our firm belief that banking has a crucial role to play in society, and as bankers, we have an incredible responsibility for the resources in our hands. To use this responsibility wisely, we rely on Sharia principles to guide us as we participate in our customers' success, one that rewards and results in long-standing sustainable development. At the heart of it all is the Al Baraka vision, a vision that has been carved by our values and beliefs, a vision that has given us wings to soar, a vision that has helped us grow to be one of the leading participation banking groups with a global footprint spanning 3 continents. A vision that is focused on helping our customers face the toughest challenges across the globe and seize every opportunity to achieve success. What guides us and inspires us? What holds us together to achieve what sometimes may seem to be impossible in such challenging times? Our robust policies and procedures drive every action across all disciplines, and a unified Sharia board encourages us to press on ahead with the courage of our convictions. Social and sustainable finance is an integral part of our corporate philosophy. It has prompted us to pledge clear targets in support of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Each one of us is proud to belong to a work environment that is richly rewarding at the tangible and non-tangible levels. And behind all of that is the trust and respect of millions of customers across 3 continents. This is because, while being international, we do not lose sight of our strong roots and local presence. We are local first in our approach to our customers, and our passion is to perform as a unified group. Their loyalty inspires us in developing innovative Sharia-compliant financial solutions, continuously working on innovative projects and expanding digitally into new markets. Insha was the first digital-only participation bank launched by Baraka Turk in Europe. And there are several fintech initiatives in the pipeline through our innovation activities, including the ones happening in our accelerator, Baraka Garage. While nurturing an innovation-first culture, Baraka Academy was established with a mission to offer corporate training and development programs with a view to improve the skills of the employees and enhance the overall standards of performance. The Academy has designed training programs to teach employees new skills, to advance them in their jobs in the areas of Sharia, operations, finance, risk, corporate governance, compliance, and interpersonal skills, and to ensure the overall development in order to make them adaptable, agile, innovative, and courageous. This is how we do things at Baraka, through the strength of our belief and the partnerships forged to pursue our goals. Together we stand as pioneers in a fast-moving and fast-changing world. In an era of disruption and challenges, some things don't change. It is our promise of lasting partnerships. Baraka, your partner bank.
A unique opportunity of dealing cross-border in markets that are emerging. We were very proud to have just launched an initiative between ourselves and Baraka Pakistan 2 days ago, where we've created a portal that links exporters from Pakistan to importers in South Africa across a number of industries, including textiles, sportswear, pharmaceuticals, cement, rice, spices, Himalayan salt, matchboxes, and a wide range of industries that are available for our clients. We know that the way of the world is shifting from the west to the east, and Baraka's footprint allows for that trade to actually grow and move forward. But being global, being local, being innovative also requires us to be digital. The world has moved forward, and we spend a lot of time over the last few years solidifying our digital footprint in the market. The next video that we're going to share with you will just cover some of the new enhancements that we've done to our transactional banking platforms to expand on our digital offering. These offerings and these products and services are available. We've got a networking lunch afterwards where you can engage with our team, and we'll be able to showcase some of these technologies and how they work for you as well, if you see a use case for yourself. Can I have the next video, please?
Banking of the future. Baraka Bank goes digital. But how did we get to this point? From humble beginnings in 1989 with limited branches, in 2009, the start of a digitalization journey with the launch of the debit card, internet banking, and corporate banking. In 2013, the launch of international banking. In 2017, international card usage activations. Online shopping. In 2018, the launch of real-time payment. A new digital era dawns. In 2020, the upgrading of all core banking systems. In 2022, the launch of the new Al Baraka website, incorporating the ability to request for logbooks, statements, and much more, all with the click of a button. The launch of the Al Baraka SA mobile banking app, featuring transactional banking as well as investments and finance, allowing a 360-degree view of all client dealings. And that's not all. Our mobile app boasts some digital-first features like corporate banking that allows level 1 and level 2 approvals and SaaS approval all from your mobile. Banking made virtual in the palm of your hand. Need to finance your next car or house? Apply online for finance via our website, calculating your repayment rates as easy as 1, 2, 3. Apply online and work out installments using our property calculator. In 2022, we were proud to introduce smarter ways to pay through the launch of tokenization, using Samsung Pay, Garmin Pay, and Swatch Pay. A culmination of these milestones in the digital space brings us to being awarded the best digital offering and the best Islamic bank in South Africa by the IFN Awards for 2022. So what can you expect from the all-new digital Al Baraka? Digital onboarding. Open an account virtually without having to be physically present at a branch. The expansion of all services on a digital platform, and much more. Al Baraka, partner bank of the future.
Sorry about that. We invite you to enjoy the presentations that's going to follow through, and we invite you to enjoy the lunch and interact with the staff and the young and dynamic team that we've got up in Johannesburg that will be able to assist you. With that, I hand you back to the Master of Ceremony.
Heading into our first panel discussion, we have Ismail Yusuf, General Manager, Corporate and SME, Muhammad Kaka, Chief Operating Officer, and Assistant Forex Dealer, Hamza Ghulam Mohammed, discussing how to manage currency risk.
Jazakallah for that, Zain. Thank you, Mohammed. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much for being here with us this afternoon. So as Zain had indicated, my name is Ismail Yusuf, and we are all here from Durban. Mohammed took the journey up this morning, so he's quite tired, I would think. But and also we gave him extra time to stand out here in the front. We all report to him, by the way, from a sales perspective. And this is, Mohammed, just our little bit of punishment to you for the grief that you give us back home. But nonetheless, I think it was a very good presentation that Mohammed had given us, a very beautiful insight into Al Baraka and the journey that we have undertaken. And we're looking forward to engaging with you later on. So as global markets become more accessible to South African businesses, we have noticed that there's been a significant increase in international trade at the bank. And with that, the availability of international banking services has become a key focus for Al Baraka Bank. And with that in mind, we decided that international trade will be part of this segment here. But given the limited time that we have, we will be focusing just on one area of that. And that is the risks that are associated with international trade. And also the risk mitigation factors that, that one should take into account. So the experts, as you would have gathered by now via the introduction of Zain Patel of Mohammed. Mohammed, being the Chief Operating Officer, is responsible for all of the revenue areas of the bank, but he was also responsible for the introduction of international banking and the implementation, of these banking services at Al Baraka. So, Mohammed, thank you very much for bringing us to this point, and therefore we nominate you as being the expert to be sitting in this panel discussion here this afternoon. And together with Mohammed, is Hamza Ghulam Mohammed, also based in Durban in our dealing room. Either you or many of your clients would have had interactions with Hamza when you are booking any of your foreign payments. Hamza Also, he's been at the bank for about 6 years now. He's a business science graduate, majoring in economics as well as in finance. But Hamza has also become very popular with many of our clients, and I think with yourselves, if you've been traveling to Turkey and looking at opening up investments at Al Baraka, Turkey. And Hamza was responsible for forging excellent relationships with our counterparts in Turkey in allowing South Africans traveling across to Turkey to be able to open up accounts there. What Turkey requires is for a letter of reference or recommendation from Al Baraka, South Africa. And we must thank Hamza for having undertaken that journey and fostering excellent relationships with Turkey, and also making it easy for our South African clients to be able to open up investments in Turkey. So with that, it now leads me to the discussion that we are going to unfold, and that is primarily on the risk area. And I'm going to direct my first question through to Hamza. And Hamza, currency risk is a big thing, and especially in this volatile market that we are in at the moment. And I think everyone will be looking to you to provide some insights as to where the currency is going. But I think before we get to that, maybe you can just enlighten us on what are some of the risk mitigating factors that a business person can adopt to ensure that he can, have some level of stability in their trade.
So all of you as accountants will know this. Forex gains and losses can sometimes contribute quite largely to your clients' balance sheets and income statements. And then also management of cash flows is another area that Forex sometimes comes in and affects how the cash flows run on the client's books. So with the volatile markets that we do trade in, the Rand is a very volatile currency, among the most volatile amongst the emerging market currencies in the world. Managing risk around the Rand volatility is very important. Short-term risks and long-term risks, there's tools that can be utilized for clients or by clients to manage their currency exposures and also to assist on the cash flow side. So when it comes to dealing with short-term risks, we look at what we call orders. So similar to the guys that do trading on the stock side, you can put in stop loss and take profit orders. We can do that for Forex as well. Clients have accessibility to that tool, and where they've got an exposure and they need to settle invoices over a week or a 2-week period, and they're looking for a certain target, or they want to just watch the market in that period but not expose themselves overly to Forex movements, they can go into the market and place stop loss orders at 19 or 19.10, for example, for where we're trading today, and just allow themselves to take benefit over any downside positive shifts in the rate without overexposure to the upside movements in the market. On the more long-term risks, what we then guide our clients towards utilizing are forward exchange contracts. The Reserve Bank allows booking of forward exchange rates up to 6 months in advance without invoices or pro formas needing to be presented to the banks. Naturally, there's a facility that would need to be placed in, would be made available to the client, because the bank is taking some risk on by making those funds available over that period. But the client then has certainty over what their cash flows are going to be like and what pricing those goods are going to land in when they do come across and they do need to bring them in. So that forward exchange contract is a really, really powerful tool for clients to use to secure their pricing over a longer period of time, up to 6 months, but preferably on shorter terms, from between a month and 3 months, not usually exposing themselves more than that. And again, your cash flows only run on the dates that you have maturities or you pull drawdowns on those forward exchange contracts. So you have $100,000 that's booked, but that 1.8 million Rand only leaves your bank account when you ask for those dollars to be delivered to you. So it's still sitting and it's working in your business up until the date that you need to pay for your actual stock that's coming in. So a really, really powerful tool on both those ends to manage, help you on your cash flow side and to manage your currency exposure.
Okay. Well, thanks for that, Hamza. And given where we are now with the volatility of the Rand, have you seen a significant take-up by clients on the FEC side?
Yes, alhamdulillah. I mean, our own clients, a lot of people burn their fingers with forward exchange contracts because they try and use it to play the market and they want to speculate using them, and that's not what it's there for. It's not there for speculating purposes. And when you do that, I mean, and that's the downside of it, is that if the rates do move lower and more further in your favor, or they move up and you don't have invoices to pay, then you as a client are naturally then liable for any profits or losses. That they want to take advantage of the profit upside, but they don't want to have that exposure on the downside. So they do burn their fingers. But I mean, given the volatility that we see and the short periods that the rand does strengthen for before weakening again, clients have been taking up FECs, and we've got clients drawing down on FECs now that they've booked at 1780 and 1770, and you're already 1.5 rand ahead of the market when your goods land. So huge upside, and from that point of view, if you use the tool correctly, it can have a very big benefit on your business.
Okay. It's good to know that, Hamza. Thank you for that. And if I can move over to Mohammed. Mohammed, dealing with foreign suppliers also becomes a bit risky as well, especially when you don't have those long-standing relationships with them. What are some of the risk mitigating measures that one can take to ensure that the counterparty or supplier risk is mitigated?
Thank you, Ismail, for that. So in managing counterparty risk, there are two types of transactions that are available, or two instruments that are available to clients. The first is that of a letter of credit. And a letter of credit goes a way in securing both the supplier and the purchaser. So it's a tool that is designed to protect both parties in a transaction. It guarantees the seller the payment if the conditions as per the letter of credit are fulfilled, and it guarantees the purchaser that they're going to be getting the goods that they're asking for, but that goods in terms of the documents that you call for it, whether those are documents of certificate of inspection, certificates of weight, etc., that will be able to protect both sides of the parties that are involved in the transaction. And it's generally a tool that is used in starting off a new relationship with a new supplier. So you go across, you find somebody that's doing something, you're interested in importing it, but you don't want to put your money out and end up receiving a container that's empty or not having the items that you're looking for. As the business relationship grows and moves from strength to strength, there's an opportunity to then move from a letter of credit to a bill for collection. Now, within the bills for collection and within the letters of credit, you can also build in credit terms. That means that a letter of credit or a bill for collection can be either sight, which means that when the documents are available, you need to make payment, or you can have them on what is termed usance, which allows for a period of repayment. So it's not necessary that if you're going down the letter of credit route, you're only stuck with having to pay the minute the goods arrives. You can build in a relationship with your supplier. As far as the bills for collection goes, it removes the onerous provisions of these the banks getting involved with each transaction from the beginning, i.e. a letter of credit, you need to establish it, whereas a bill of collection, you don't need to establish it. The foreign supplier can go to their bank and say, I've exported all of these goods. Here's the proof of export. Here's the documentation. I'm sending it to the importer's bank rather than to the importer, because I want the importer's bank to either acknowledge that they will release it only against payment, or they release it against signed documentation of a debt, a nuisance document in there. And in both those instances, you can protect your buyer by ensuring that you call for the right documents. You call for documents in terms of certificate of inspections, etc., that will prevent you from receiving a container half full or a container with the incorrect goods and services that you wanted to bring into the country.
Okay. Well, thanks for that, Mohammed. And just one other point on this. What role does the sanction screening play from an Baraka perspective for the benefit of our clients?
So we've been recently downgraded and added to what is called the FETIV grey list. And basically, FETIV is the global body for FICA, our local version of what we know. And they set the standards in terms of monitoring countries. They do mutual evaluations, they come across, they engage with the regulators, and then they determine whether the country's laws and regulations meet the scrutiny of the global area. Within the FETIV, you have countries that are FETIV compliant, which is where South Africa was prior to the grey listing. Then you have the grey listing, which is where you put onto a warning list, you've been asked to fix up some things, and then you get into what is called the blacklist, which is basically your sanctioned countries. So each cross-border transaction gets screened multiple times. If you're making a transaction from South Africa to China, for example, and you're paying away in US dollars, that transaction is going to get screened in South Africa first. It's going to get screened in America. It's going to get screened in China. And based on the jurisdictions that you're operating in, i.e. South Africa, US, and China, you're going to have different lists that are going to be applicable. So you might have an instance where a name is not sanctioned in South African law. We follow the United Nations list, and we have a very limited and shortened list. But a person, a vessel, a company may be sanctioned in America, and you're doing your transaction in US dollars, your funds are not going to reach the ultimate beneficiary. Sanctions extend to even port of loading, port of discharge, vessels being used. So we know the Lady R has been in the news about whether what cargo it offloaded. But if the Lady R is a sanctioned vessel, then if your goods are on that particular vessel, you may not be able to make payment of it, because when you present your documents to the bank, those documents are then all screened again. And again, depending on the currency you're playing in, if it's going in dollars, which is where the majority of the world's trade occurs in, you're not going to be able to make that payment.
Okay. Thanks for that, Mohammed. And just before we conclude, my favorite question to Hamza is always on the currency. And Hamza, if you can give us your crystal ball view of what's happening with the currency and what we should be expecting over the next couple of days.
I threw you a prediction in Cape Town and it came true that afternoon. But I'm not going to do that today. So look, over the next few days, up until next week, Thursday, we've got a lot of economic data that's being released. This afternoon, the European Central Bank is going to be making their announcement on their interest rates. We've got US PPI numbers coming out, and then next week, Wednesday, we've got the US interest rate decision that's coming out on Wednesday evening, and Thursday is our local Reserve Bank announcement. So there's going to be a lot of volatility over the next week. We're probably going to see fluctuations anything between 1850 and 1925, 1930. We know that the 19 level was a resistant mark before, but that's been broken, and the rand just moves freely through that level now. So I'm not giving you a prediction today.
So as expected, a very broad range that Hamza is offering us.
It's an economist's answer,
okay.
right?
Okay. Jazakallah, thank you very much to Mohammed and to Hamza for your insights, and we hope that you found it very beneficial. Shukran. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah, Ismail, Mohammed, and Hamza. Our next lineup of panelists discussing cybersecurity is Sumesh Chetty, Central Operations General Manager, Osman Ghani Musa, Risk Analyst, which will be moderated by Syed Abed Alamia, Regional Corporate Manager for Gauteng.
Hello, is that better? It's very weird hearing your own voice on this loudspeaker. Okay, Jazakallah, thank you, Zain, for introducing us. I must also just give our warm welcome to our Durban guests who, like Mohammed Kaka, also arrived this morning. And I hope you guys had a nice strong cup of coffee. I'll get right into it, right? So we're all very familiar with the high rate of crime in general in South Africa, right? And with cybercrime in South Africa fast becoming the cybercrime capital in Africa, right? Osman, what are the major threats faced by banks and our banks' clients in particular?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Syed. You guys can hear me? There's a lot of scams out there. There's numerous threats all the time to banks, but I'm going to just try and focus on the most common. And three come top of mind that we are constantly exposed to at Al Baraka and other banks, because we also monitor trends from the South African Fraud Prevention Services. So we partner with these bureaus and these organizations to understand what risks are in industry. So the first one that comes to mind is data breaches. And if you think of a data breach, it's something where it exposes customer, personal, and financial information. You think of it like a secret vault door being opened, and the data is breached, this can cause significant reputational damage to the bank. It can also cause a lot of animosity for clients that at any time they can be exposed to identity theft. The second one that's top of mind is the ransomware. Ransomware is malicious software that's used to first lock in your data and then request ransom. So they hold it at ransom. You can think of it as a digital hostage situation. So they hold your data ransom until you pay. That also, reputational damage is quite strong. But the most common one, we all in business, and we all use business email quite a bit for communication. So business email compromise is a big threat in organizations, and we're seeing numerous attempts of that. So what is business email compromise? It's basically a scam where they send out fake emails that appear to be legitimate. And what they're trying to do is to get you to either pay amounts to banks that it's not supposed to go to, or give away confidential information. So that's the scam itself. What we as Al Baraka do is we have partnerships with SABRIC, who's a South African Banking Risk Information Center, and SAFPS, like I mentioned, and we have interbank agreements with them. So we constantly monitor trends, but at the same time, let's say your customer was defrauded, and it gives you a call and says, I probably paid to the wrong account, and I think I've been scammed. So what we do is we pick up the phone, call a third-party bank, and we say, look, freeze the funds. This is a fraudulent account. And we manage to repatriate the funds and save the client a lot of money. And let me stress that not all banks are on membership of SABRIC, but we understand that our customers are our most important people, and we take us as a partner bank, so we really look out for the risk of the clients. We recently had an incident where a customer did find himself a victim. He called us at like 6 in the morning, but thankfully Mohammed Kaka was awake and he managed to contact the risk department, and we managed to save that guy a substantial amount of money through the interbank agreement that we have with SABRIC. Thanks.
Sure. I mean, if I think back 10, 15 years ago, we wouldn't be even thinking of these sort of crimes, right? And it's a fast-changing landscape. I think Sumesh and Osman has highlighted the threats that we currently face. What sort of risk mitigation can we as individuals do to prevent being victims of cyber attacks?
Thanks, Abid, and good afternoon, everyone. So I think maybe let me just start by saying Osman and myself are actually not IT people. I know we've had that question a couple of times. We're speaking cybersecurity. We're both accountants also. But I think the point that Abid made about the fact that cybersecurity has become such a fundamental thing across any industry at this point in time, banking being a key milestone to it. There's lots of things that we need to consider from an operational perspective that we need to consider when we're thinking about cybersecurity. I'll cover maybe the comment in two parts. One is maybe just on the basic things. And on the basic stuff, I mean, we all know passwords. I mean, everyone knows you got to keep your passwords confidential, etc. But to a large extent, a lot of us may be using common passwords across multiple platforms. Social media, it's a big thing. We all have it. Very often you might find that people have the same passwords in their banking apps that they do in their Facebook account and their WhatsApp account and so on. And we know that those accounts have been breached before. There's been hacks against them. And guess what? If someone then has your password for one of those accounts, they then have your banking information also. So you've got to be very, very careful about that. Use of public Wi-Fi. I mean, again, we know don't use public Wi-Fi, but the temptation of doing it is always there, especially when you travel overseas. You haven't purchased a SIM card. You need access to the internet. It's very easy to quickly log on to public Wi-Fi to process a transaction. But you do, unfortunately, open yourself up to a level of risk during that period. The next point is obviously quite a silly one. I mean, locking your phone, you don't think much about it. But if you think back where actual money started from, it was precious metals that were exchanged for goods and services. That eventually evolved into pieces of paper that we started to trust, that we could then exchange for that same goods and services. Now all that money is really is its numbers on a screen. and it's on your screen in your pocket right now. So how important is that device in your pocket? It's absolutely essential. Everything that you want to be able to do, be it with any of the banks, be it with Baraka or mobile banking app, your transactionability is there. So keeping your phone locked, keeping it protected is critical. Some of the more maybe specific things that we need to consider, especially from a business perspective, especially for the accountants in the audience, for their clients in particular, is things like applying the correct limits. So the ability for level 1, level 2 approvers. It came up in the screen earlier about the fact that we have the ability for payments that have been made that needs to go through a level 1, level 2 approver through our mobile banking app. It's something that's actually very important because it increases the difficulty of a cyber criminal being able to process a transaction on your behalf because you need more levels of approvals. We in tax season at the moment. We know historically every year during tax season, you'll get those SMSs that go out, you'll get those links that go out to say, please click here to update your information. Goes without saying you shouldn't do it. But we know that SARS e-filing has the ability to push the payments through to the banking apps for approval. It was another item that was on the screen earlier in terms of functionality that's available on the mobile banking app. It's things like that that we need to take extra precaution on, that we need to actually understand that whilst it may not seem like massive things to think about, it's those little things that actually add to the overall security in terms of protecting ourselves from a cyber threat type of thing.
Sure. Thank you, Sumeshan. Thank you, Mrs. Ron. So we've all just seen a video about the advancements that we've made, or Baraka has made, with regards to online banking and digitalization. Right? I think with the aggressive move towards digitalization with all banks, we all now find ourselves using our online banking via our phones and tablets, right? And there certainly are some advantages, but I think there are some risks as well, right? Maybe you can explain to us some of the risks versus benefits for online banking. Okay,
can I take that? Yeah. So we've gone to the level where Mohammed Kaka, our digital dynamo, has got a watch on there. If you put a point of sale device, he's going to do a payment. So we've come to a level in our organization where we're doing contactless payments. We are moving and trying to keep abreast with technology. At the same time, I'm from Al Baraka's risk department. We need that oversight over moving too fast with technology, and we want to give a lot of comfort to clients and trust that we are overseeing this to an expected level. So before any of these products, new channels, or any products are being launched at Al Baraka, there's a lot of oversight. As Mohammed mentioned, you've got a Big Four auditing firm, you've got internal audit, you've got risk, you've got internal control. We're very strong on governance. And as you move along, we won't allow a launch of a new product until it's been signed off that, yes, we accept zero tolerance in terms of a risk where there's any client vulnerability. So there's a lot of tech savvy things out there, but at the same time, you want to consider the risk. And what are some of those risks? As we get better at technology, you get more and more clever criminals and clever hackers out there. So what we do as Al Baraka, we make sure that we can find someone as good as the hacker, but we call them ethical hackers. And they do penetration testing on our systems. So before the launch of our mobile app, which is something that every bank has, we made sure that ethical hacker, here's our app, try your best and try to get through it. And they'll raise certain concerns, and we'll knock those concerns out by making sure our security posture is still firm. And then we'll only release the app. So like that, the other vulnerability that you would have in moving to technology like this, as a customer, you're concerned about downtime. We make sure that downtime alerts come to us all the time, but we're proactive. We don't want to be those people who, okay, there's a problem, then we fix it. We want to make sure we're getting as much uptime as possible. So I'm going to copy Fly Safir. On-time rate, we like to maintain a good uptime rate. And maintaining the uptime rate comes with a lot of effort. And as Sumeshan mentioned, we're not IT people by any means, but we know so much about cyber because we're a small bank and we collaborate with our departments very strongly around risk. Every step of the way, we try to make sure that all the heads of departments are wearing their risk cap, because you only can build trust through risk mitigation. And what I want to mention is that uptime rate is done through making sure that our systems are constantly updated to the latest software versions. So you'll notice with our mobile app, we have, since the time we launched, alhamdulillah, it's been 100% uptime. And maintenance is done regularly. So you can rest assured that we are not passive observers. We are proactive guardians at Al Baraka.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Osman. Sumesh, the last question I'll ask you. I think currently the buzzword is artificial intelligence, AI, right? What sort of technological enhancements or advancements can we see in the banking space with regard to just future security when it comes to cyber risks?
Yeah, thanks, Abid. So that's an interesting question. It's pretty much how long is that piece of string, right? You know, if you think back on where we were 20 years ago versus where we are now. And in fact, I had a discussion with one of my staff members not long ago, and they were reminding me how banking used to be done on pieces of cards. We used to write down transaction values. Now we're talking about artificial intelligence. You know, it's next level. So it can go anywhere. But I can tell you, I've been part of some discussions from an industry perspective based on the bank CETA costs that have been out recently. And I can tell you, the industry is already thinking about things like, and it's sad to say, you know, we live in a country where things like kidnappings, etc., are a big thing. It's not something we want to speak about, but it's unfortunately there. And there's decisions and there's thoughts behind it around things like secondary pins. You know, like how you would in an alarm system, you know, if you've been hijacked and you put in a pin number, you know, security company knows that it's not valid. There's already thoughts around, you know, can we put that type of logic into banking? Put in a secondary pin that may process a transaction in a pending state. Sorry, apologies. So, you know, the banking space is already thinking about things like that. Can we put in a secondary pin where the transaction can go into like a suspended state and reversed in a couple of days so that if you have to, you use that in order to be safe? Our phones, as we've mentioned before, is the technology that's ended up on the phone is next level. There's concepts around the fact that do you look at the heart rate and stress levels of individuals when they're trying to log on to the banking app? And if it's too high, you don't let them get on. I mean, there's lots of implications on that. If you try doing something a bit too strenuous and you're trying to do banking, you may get blocked. But the truth is, you know, there's concepts and there's ideas that are floating around that could have significant impacts in terms of building that level of security. But unfortunately, the equivalent is also true. You know, the criminals out there are also thinking about the same thing and also thinking about how to then negate against those type of changes that will come through. So unfortunately, to answer your question, I'm not sure. It's going to be as long as a piece of string is. But as Osman has said, we're a small, agile bank. We keep in touch with everything that's happening within the industry. And hopefully that gives us the ability to be agile enough and flexible enough to be able to make the changes that's needed as and when they come through.
Yeah. Thank you, Sumesh, and thank you, Osman. I think this topic of cybersecurity is probably one of the most important things we need to talk about when it comes to online banking and, I mean, being online in general. So valuable information. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the flight back.
Yes.
Thank you, Abid, Sumesh, and Osman Ghani. Introducing our next panelist is to discuss the importance of wealth management is Atia Dokrat, investment consultant, Adil Patel, wealth specialist, which will be moderated by GM Nasser Sina.
Can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum and good morning or it's good afternoon. I stand between lunch and here, so it's the last discussion, inshallah. But I think historically, I think when people look at Al Baraka, inshallah, next year will be 35 years in the country. I think a lot of clients associate us with advances and finance transactions, and a lot of the accountants, and we're always nagging for financials, etc. But I think the bank has obviously come a long way. We spoke a little bit on the transactional banking, but I said let's discuss a little bit on our investment and wealth capabilities within the bank. Got strong capabilities, and we'll just use the next few minutes just to enlighten the accountants and with some areas of within your clients, and maybe something that might spark some type of interest within that, inshallah. With us is Adil Patel. Adil has recently joined us. He has over 10 years experience in the financial advisory game with Standard Bank and Old Mutual itself. Welcome, Adil. Atia Doctorate's BCom accounting graduate, and previously with Investec has also recently joined us. So we're trying to build expertise within the bank in terms of areas on investment and wealth, just to try and grow it. Within the bank's wealth and retirement plan, we do hold a very strong relationship with Old Mutual and the Old Mutual suite of products that we do offer. And I'll kick off, obviously, with Adil in terms of retirement planning. We do know and we do see in the media, retirement of South Africans, obviously, we don't retire quite well. Maybe just talk to us about a little bit on the stats of the retirement in South Africa and some of the benefits around retirement planning, the importance of having a retirement annuity. I know the accountants will know the tax benefits, but just some of the importance of retiring comfortably.
Okay, so there's a scary stat that I came upon according to the Retirement Insight survey, which was conducted in June 2023, where it says 89% of South Africans won't be able to retire comfortably. So they will have to look at alternative means for retirement to maintain their lifestyle, which they'll have to like either sell assets to maintain their lifestyle, or they have to work part-time to maintain their lifestyle. And then on the other topic was the tax benefits. With the retirement benefits, meaning you get the tax benefit where you can get deductions up to 27.5%. You got its flexibility where you can contribute monthly or lump sums at any given time, and you can pause or stop your retirement at any given time. And then there's even diversification where you can choose which asset classes you want to invest in and which geographical regions you want your money to be invested in. And it's safe and sound what meaning creditors cannot touch your retirement annuity.
Thanks, Adil. We just move on to Atia. Atia, from the Old Mutual suite of products that the bank has a partnership, maybe just touch a little bit on the products that the bank has partnered with Old Mutual on the Sharia side.
Sure. Assalamu alaikum. Old Mutual, in partnership with Baraka Bank, offers you expertly managed Sharia compliant funds comprising of the Old Mutual Equity Fund. So here you are allowed to invest in Sharia compliant equities which are listed on the JSE. We also then have the Old Mutual Baraka Balance Fund, offering investors access to local and international asset classes. Then we also move on to the Old Mutual Baraka Income Fund. This is designed to offer investors an ethical Sharia compliant investment, providing income and capital stability over time through short and long-term non-equity securities. Last but not least, our recently launched Global Feeder Fund, providing one with offshore exposure by simply investing in rands and without affecting your SDA allowance. With that, just to conclude, all of these are distinguished. We do have a distinguished Sharia board, so therefore impermissible funds are removed from the source, and shares are selected from Sharia compliant businesses as well.
Thanks, Atia. Adil, if you can just move on to yourself, we know the products that are on offer. How would you structure Sharia compliant retirement annuity? And we do know, obviously, over years, there probably weren't much options from a retirement annuity. How can this now be moved from a non-Sharia side to a Sharia compliant RA?
Okay, so to structure a retirement annuity, you have to comply with the Regulation 28 fund, and that means you can't invest more than 75% in equity, both local and offshore. You can't invest more than 25% in listed property, local and offshore, and you can't go more than 45% in offshore, which is included even in Africa. And then you can move between annuities as long as the contract holder is the same person, and it then goes via Section 14 transfer, which takes up to about 180 days to conclude.
Okay, thanks on that. Another one is from a bank point of view. We do offer, obviously, provident funds. So the staff of Baraka, where there's a contribution from the bank and there's a contribution from the employee as well. I know those are termed super funds. Yeah. Is this something that can be offered? Obviously, the accountants here would have clients that have large customer base together with the accountants that have a strong staff base? And how do you have investments for your staff that obviously when they retire, they can have something, if it's not on the retirement side, on the provident side?
So you can use the super fund choice option, which uses the Baraka balance fund, and it's purely like a pension fund, and minimum 5 members to start with a minimum monthly contribution of 15,000 rand. For the, and the minimum employee contribution must be 2%, to an employee contribution 2% minimum.
Thanks, Adil. Atya, from your side, in terms of, we spoke a little bit on the old mutual side, any of the other offerings that the bank offers from an investment side?
Okay, so our Sharia investment offerings allows one to build and establish a solid and attainable foundation for your future. We do have the Baraka participation account. So this ranges from a short, medium to long-term investment, catering for each individual specific needs. We also have the tax investment account, which allows one to reap the rewards without any tax implications. Also, we look to meet clients' needs by offering goal-based investments such as the Hajj investment account, allowing one's journey of a lifetime to become a reality. We have our regular income provider account. This enables one to earn a monthly profit from your lump sum investment with the option of reinvesting your profits and therefore increasing your monthly returns. If we move over to our high-end investments, such as our Premium Plus and Premium Plus 365 investment account, these accounts are tailored to yield a superior return in comparison to our other investments.
Thanks, Satya. In conclusion, Adil, maybe there's a lot of talk on the new two-pot system that's going to be effective in March 2024. Maybe just enlighten us on this two-pot system and to conclude some of the returns that these funds have managed to gain over the last 3 years, inshallah.
Yeah, so the two-pot system means you'll have a savings pot, which your 1/3 of your retirement annuity goes into the savings pot, and then you get the retirement pot where your 2/3 of your investment goes in there, which will give you income at retirement. The withdrawal from the savings pot is subject to nominal tax rates, and you can go the maximum is 10% of the value or up to 25,000 rand. And the two-pot system, according to the Actuarial Society in South Africa, stated that it would triple your retirement savings in asset. And the Old Mutual Sharia Fund performance over a 3-year period between August 2020 to August 2023, the balance fund performed at 10.18%. Equity fund returned 13.12%. Income fund returned 6.94%, and our global fund returned a 1-year return of 32%. The global Islamic equity feeder fund.
Obviously, the currency has placed a lot of effect on that. But Jazakallah, I think from the bank side, we do have an investment and wealth team. I think we're willing to host your clients in any functions, where to come out and do a financial plan, etc., to add value and see how we can add value in terms of the investment options that we do offer. We again, whilst we spoke about not coming to the opening accounts digitally, we do come out to businesses, we do come out to the accountants, and we can have current accounts open within the same day or two, and investments we can go out to the client. We do a lot of estate accounts as well, where we go out and make it easy for the clients to open it. With some of the widows might be in Iddat, etc., and we go home and we have a female team, etc., to go out as well. So, looking forward to partnering with you some of the investment options.